Okay, Gimel. Alpi Shiotze Kvar. See, so even though you're already so you're able to cover another person. Person blew shofar, heard the shofar himself. You're able to cover another. Why? Because there's principle Kol Yisrael Ravens Elazar, since Jews are responsible for one another. So if another Jew hasn't yet fulfilled his obligation, although you fulfilled your personal obligation, you're able to cover that person. Right? That's the principle of our Ravus. Kol Yisrael. If Apishi Yotza, you already read the you're able to even say the bracha on behalf of the person. The cover with the bracha. It's Mishna Berura Purim Yotza Kvar Vorech. V'kolshkim sheyochel otzim b'kriya apish Yotza Kvar, and definitely with the kriya, because as we said, if one reads the Megillah did not say the bracha Yotze without the bracha. So therefore, so what is the mitzvah? The mitzvah is the reading. The bracha is only to what? To introduce the reading. Umikol mokom yishposkim sovan linyin bracha im yodim ba'atzman levorech yivorchu ba'atzman came shukvar yotze b'kriya. He says, however, the poskim rule that if the person who's being covered can say his own bracha, it's better he should say his own bracha. Uminig olam mahokel lotziyim chogav. Nevertheless, says the minig is that we're lenient, that even if the person can say his own bracha, the Balkori, he reads the bracha on behalf of those who are going to be covered. Ayalel simin kuf tov kuf pehei Mishna Berura sif cotton heg yudalid. Okay. Further. Yeah, go ahead. No, there's no embarrassment. If the halacha would be, you have to read the Torah. Everybody has to read his own aliyah. You have people that can't read the aliyah. So what's going to happen? These people are not coming to shul for Kriyas Torah. So therefore we canceled that, and we said, no, we have one Balkori covers every. Even if you want to read, we don't allow you to read. That's not to embarrass a person or discourage another person, for he's not coming to shul. This has nothing to do with this. I mean, normally, if nobody was the Yotzei, definitely one person says the bracha of everyone. So how are we embarrassing? There's nothing with embarrassment. You have one Balkori anyway. No, it has nothing to do with it here. Here the person wasn't Yotzei yet. He can't read the Megillah himself. But if you could say the bracha, you should say the bracha yourself. There's a concept of mitzvah yosef b'shlucho. The Balkori is my shliach. But if you're able to do it yourself, you should do it yourself. Says, nevertheless, the minig is the Balkori still reads it. Mishu onus k'tzas v'ni yochel leilcha b'sakaneses. Person has some kind of difficulty, he's not able to go to shul. Right? Interesting. Right? We have tiny Esther, then you have the Megillah. So the person is not able to go to shul, so he can't immediately hear the Megillah. So if that's the case, he has to delay his fast. Is he permitted to eat before Kriyas Megillah? Okay? Yochol lishmo kriyos mibod yom, miplagam mincha l'mala. Hear this? He's able to hear the Kriyas Megillah on Purim after plagam mincha, on Tanis Esther, on the fast day, before the 14th starts. Hago, avol osa lechol kodem shishma Kriyas Megillah afilu b'tainis kosher olav. But he says one should not eat before you hear the Megillah, even though it's difficult. Let's say you can't get a Balkori. You can't get somebody to read the Megillah if you have to plug a mitzvah, to eat immediately at nightfall. You're not able to. It's just, you have to stick it out. You have to eat. Despite the fast being difficult, you should hear, because you have a chiyuv, you're not permitted to eat, even though we're going to discuss it, because the halacha is only eating achilas keva if you want to drink something. Let's say it comes to, the Gemara says, if it comes to the Zman Kriya Shema, it comes to the time of saying Shema Esrei, and you want to eat something which is not something substantial. You want to drink something, you're permitted to drink, right? You're not permitted to eat more than a bayah, right? Something of bread, which is more than a bayah, but less you're permitted. Because that's not called Suda. So over here, so why can't? I mean, if the reason is I have to be Yotze to Megillah, it's a field. There's no, it can't, why is it more than Kriya Shema? Or Shmon Esrei, that was saying Mincha, you permit it? Good. You're not supposed to eat until you've executed your mitzvah. When you have an obligation to do a mitzvah, first you do the mitzvah, then you eat. So over here, that's the discussion. He's not able to go to the regular Kriyas Megillah. He has a choice. Either wait 2 hours until they're able to read the Megillah later, which he has difficulty waiting that long, or to read it earlier. That's what he says, to read after Plag HaMincha, you're reading it on the 13th. Okay? It's like lighting Shabbos candles after Plag. There's a principle of, Tosefes. As you're able to bring the following day in earlier, here also, even for this, of course, it's very b'diavad, very b'diavad. There's halacha. Gemara says, it's halacha that a person says, the Shadla wants to discuss this many years ago. The halacha is a person who's in onein. Onein, that means before the burial, he's exempt from all mitzvahs. He's not even permitted to do the mitzvahs till the burial. So the case was a person, what happens when a person dies Friday afternoon, but their burial is not going to be till Saturday night, Motzei Shabbos or Sunday. Shabbos, the person's not an onein, because the person's only an onein only at a time that he could actually be occupied with the needs of the deceased, because it's a disrespect to be involved in anything but the needs of the person who passed away. So Shabbos, the person is not able to do that. So therefore, all the obligations come upon him. Okay, Motzei Shabbos immediately. Again, he's exempt from everything. So the question is, so comes Motzei Shabbos, he's not able to say Havdalah. He's not able to say Havdalah. So the question was, let him say, since the halachas you can say Havdalah after Plag HaMincha, but not with a candle. Just say Havdalah, Hamavim Mekadosh Chol, Baruch Hamavim Mekadosh Chol, and drink the wine on Shabbos. Be Yotze with Havdalah. So it comes Motzei Shabbos, you're ready Yotze, your obligation. That was the question that was posed. This question was asked a few hundred years ago. No, this is pre-Saturday night you should say Havdalah. I know, but he wants to say Havdalah. But if you're able to execute your obligation sooner, why delay it till after the burial, right? Why delay it? Well, let's say it's going to be a case where the burial is not going to be in the old days. Sometimes they transported the body. It could have taken a week till they buried a person. So if that would be the case, it goes beyond Tuesday. He's not able to say Havdalah. So the question was, let him say Havdalah Shabbos after Plag HaMincha, and then he's fulfilled his obligation. That was the question that was asked. So what they answered was that the obligation of Havdalah is after Shabbos, right? It's after Shabbos. However, Plag, you identified that, you're able to execute your post-Shabbos obligation earlier. You read the Megillah on the 14th. That's the obligation. However, you're able to fulfill your obligation of the 14th after Plag. So if after Shabbos this man has no obligation of Havdalah because he's an onein, so then he's not going to be Yotze. What he's doing now has no value. This only has value if you have an obligation. If you have an obligation Saturday night, you're able to execute that obligation after Plag HaMincha on Shabbos. But if he's going to be an onein Motzei Shabbos, he has no obligation, so it has no value. You're executing nothing after Plag HaMincha. That's the answer that's given over there. He should not. It would be a bracha levatol if he does this. So then, let's say the burial would take place on Sunday. He'd have an obligation to say, because then the obligation comes upon him. Well, that's another question. Another question which is discussed. Another question is discussed. There's no debut. No fast. And we're talking about Havdalah. Let's talk about Havdalah, okay? We're going from Shalashudis to Havdalah, okay? So now, there's another discussion. No debut discusses this. When we say you're able to say Havdalah through Tuesday, is the obligation continuous through Tuesday? Well, no. The obligation is Saturday night. However, we have Tashlumim. You're able to make it up through Tuesday. So what happens if Saturday night you have no obligation? There's no makeup. You have no obligation to make up because you were never obligated initially as a no-name. Where do we find this? And this is very practical. Very practical. Person is a no-name. They bury the person, and let's see Sunday. They don't bury the person until 1 o'clock in the afternoon Sunday. Now he says mincha. Does he have to make up for chakras? No, first day of the burial, the person doesn't wear tefillin. The day of the burial. Day of the burial, even after the day of the burial, the one doesn't say tefillin. That's a separate halacha. Separate halacha. But we're talking about makeup. So why would you daven chakras? Because it's a makeup. But if until 1 o'clock he was exempt, he had nobody argues. Everybody agrees. There's no makeup. He only says one milcha. He does not do a makeup for chakras. So that's the discussion of Havdalah. That you're able to say Havdalah through Tuesday, is that the makeup for Saturday night, or do we know? The obligation begins Saturday night and it extends through Tuesday. So according to the second opinion, then he would say Havdalah. Right? This is a discussion. Because a person, the day of the burial, he's considered disheveled, and since tefillin are referred to by Yechezkel as pe'er, it's an ornament. It's not appropriate for that. So the way we rule the halacha, it's the way it's ruled in Shulchan Aruch, and the Pesach Tshuva rules that if the burial's the day of the Pesach, everybody agrees one does not wear tefillin. Because since it's a combination of grieving over the death, and the burial, it's a combination of both, in that state one should not wear tefillin. However, if the day of the passing and the burial is not on the same day, the person puts on tefillin without a bracha. Whenever after the burial, but no, without a bracha. Normally you put on tefillin, one says a bracha. But since it's a question, sub brachos loke, on tefillin, it's a sub derais luchuma. But in terms of bracha, which sub brachos loke, one does not say the bracha. And that's the way people conduct themselves. Okay? That's what a person does. I mean, if chas v'sholom, it happens. If it's the day of the burial, one does not. But if it's not the day of the burial, one puts on tefillin, but without a bracha. No, honest means you can't make it to shul. Person's not feeling well. Can't go to shul. They have the Megillah, so somebody doesn't come later. After the Balkari reads in shul, he's coming to the house on his behalf, but it's going to be delayed. He's going to be fasting. Let's say the person is an invalid. He's an old person. He can't go to shul. It's too difficult. Right? So later somebody doesn't come read from him. So he's well enough to fast, but he's not able to make it to shul. So that's the discussion over here. No, fasting. He's well enough to fast. No, so that was my question. Why is it different Kriya Shema and Mincha? You're permitted to drink. You're not permitted to eat achilas keva, something which is substantial. You shouldn't do. But so over here he's able to break his fast, but he's just stick. He has to remain in a state of fasting till after the Megillah. Why? He can have money he doesn't want to be able to with that reading, because for him it's a b'diavad. There's not a l'chatchila reading from Plagim to onward. No. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's fine. He did nothing wrong. I'm only doing it.
Did you say that
Not to Sebes. Plag, the day already after Plag, that period of time has relevance to the nighttime period. I'll give you an example. Like we said, Shabbos. You can light Shabbos candles, but let's say Hanukkah, Friday afternoon. Well, we can't light Hanukkah candles Friday night, so we light it Friday afternoon. Why do we light it Friday afternoon? But when? It's after Plag. But factually, you're lighting it for the night, but it's not that night yet. See, Shabbos candles, you could say, look, Shabbos candles is in honor of Shabbos. So you could say it has to be close enough, within a certain proximity of time, to have relevance to Shabbos. Okay, so that's after Plag. But why are you lighting it? Let's say it's the fourth night. It's the fourth night. So you're lighting candle 4 on Friday afternoon, but it's still day 3. It's not day 4 yet. Lighting after Plag. You can't light it before Plag. Correct? Because you can't Mechal Shabbos. Right? You can't. So you say, you have no choice. But the halach is by Chanukah. If a person be the Eved, let's say traveling, and the only time you can light candles is after Plag Mincha, during the week. The Plag
is the day before.
The Plag. But yet for Abdullah, for certain laws, with the Yevid, if you brought a korban before Shkia, before sundown, it's a valid korban. But let's say they were delayed. Let's say they were delayed. It's still valid. It's a valid korban. Right. It's a period of time that period of time could identify with both days.
And that's why the Diavedi person sometimes happens after